Welcome to the exclusive analog club, secret code GnRH. Those in the know that this is the place where raging hormones and sweet beats meet. So, dance on over to our discussion on gonadotropin-releasing hormone analogs. The lighting in here is excellent. Check out these party lights. Our symbol for gonadotropin-releasing hormone, which is produced by the hypothalamus and released by the pituitary. Normally, endogenous GnRH is released in a pulsatile fashion, represented here by these strobing, or should we say, pulsing lights. Pulsatile GnRH secretion causes the pituitary to release LH and FSH, which in turn stimulates the release of testosterone from the testes and estrogen from the ovaries. And sex hormones abound. Aw, man! The lights all turned on right when the party was getting good. Oof. Why so bright? These bright, continuously shining lights symbolize the continuous administration of exogenous GnRH analogs, aka GnRH agonists, aka LHRH agonists, all of which refer to the same thing. I know, so mysterious, just like the password to this club. In this scenario, the pituitary is hyperstimulated, causing a brief hormone surge followed by pituitary desensitization, leading to decreased production of estrogen and testosterone. Wah, wah. Guess this party really is over. Looks like DJ Sound Guy is enjoying a little, treat? A very rotten apple core, which represents a major use of GnRH analogs. The treatment of advanced prostate cancer. Look, I get the symbol, but to actually eat it, well, when it comes to snacking, I guess to each their own. While GnRH analogs cause androgen-sensitive prostate cancer cells to die, yay, they can also, unfortunately, lead to an initial flare in symptoms, boo, due to the brief hormone surge, which can cause temporary worsening of painful bony mets and lead to urinary tract obstruction. So, use with caution in predisposed patients. I do admire his fashion sense, though. Check out this edgy crab bra, sketchy symbol for breast cancer, which is another use for GnRH analogs, specifically in those with hormone receptor-positive disease. Another important use of GnRH analogs is in gender transition, represented by these blue and pink shorts. It lowers endogenous hormone levels and is used in conjunction with gender-affirming hormones. And as we mentioned in our anti-androgen sketch, we know blue for boys and pink for girls is reductive, but we wanted to give you a memorable visual aid. Notice these decorative boulders, sketchy symbol for uterine leiomyomas, a reminder that GnRH analogs can be used as treatment to shrink fibroids. The splattered red paint pattern on the wall, which looked better with the lights low if you ask me, represents endometriosis, another application of GnRH analogs. Regular use can reduce the number of lesions and associated pain. This precocious dancer ain't giving up. She looks ready to party all night long. Notice her super tall platform boots? Our symbol for the treatment of precocious puberty. GnRH analogs can be used to slow early onset puberty and allow for normal skeletal growth, so those affected can reach a normal height. That is definitely a reason to dance. Her joy just cannot be suppressed, though her spontaneous ovulation may be, as evidenced by those bright test tube glow sticks, representing the fact that GnRH analogs can be used during in vitro fertilization to suppress spontaneous ovulation. You can't just party all night and expect not to have some, well, side effects. So, let's address some of the adverse effects of GnRH analog use. These bright lights are revealing the structural side effects that can occur. Just check out these crumbling columns. Patients may experience osteoporosis, a decrease in muscle mass, increases in fat stores, and gynecomastia. I really hope these columns aren't weight-bearing. Whoa, look out! That entire column just flopped over. It's a slightly inappropriate but totally memorable symbol for the sexual side effects that can occur with GnRH analog use, including erectile dysfunction and loss of libido. As they file out, the harsh glare of fluorescent lighting upon them, we can see just how sweaty our dancers are. The sweaty dancers symbolize the hot flashes, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea that can accompany GnRH analog use. If these symbols remind you of menopausal symptoms, that's no coincidence. Blocking GnRH is basically a chemically induced menopause. And they're exiting not a moment too soon. That pituitary-shaped disco ball above their heads looks like it's about to crack in half. That is both terrifying and symbolic of a rare but potentially fatal side effect of GnRH analogs, pituitary apoplexy, which is an infarction or hemorrhage of the pituitary gland. Let's shimmy up to the bar, see if they'll pour us one last bevy, and talk about the actual GnRH analog medications themselves, shall we? I think the bartender here can start us off. She clearly isn't afraid to make a statement with her giant loop earrings, which symbolize Leuprolide, a GnRH analog with the most varied formulation options, but a higher risk of hot flashes. She's mixing up a Grey Goose vodka cocktail in honor of the GnRH analog Goserelin. Just look at those fancy flair bartending Oh no! I said tip her, not trip her! Though coincidentally, tripping is our symbol for triptorelin, which is another GnRH analog. Well, that was definitely not cool. Also not cool is that goserelin and triptorelin are both associated with a higher risk of osteoporosis. Let's just leave that tip and exit before someone breaks something. Before we get thrown out, let's review everything we can remember from our night out. Gonadotropin-releasing hormone is produced in the hypothalamus and acts on the pituitary, which releases LH and FSH. When GnRH is released in a pulsatile fashion, the ovaries release estrogen and the testes release testosterone. When GnRH is released in a continuous fashion, as occurs when taking a GnRH analog, a brief surge of FSH or LH occurs, followed by the desensitization of the pituitary and decreased estrogen and testosterone release. GnRH analogs are used in advanced prostate cancer, breast cancer, gender transition, fibroids, endometriosis, precocious puberty, and IVF. Side effects of GnRH analogs include structural changes, including osteoporosis, decreased muscle, increased fat, and gynecomastia, sexual changes, including loss of libido and erectile dysfunction, hot flashes, fatigue, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and rarely cause pituitary apoplexy. GnRH analogs include Leuprolide, Goserelin, and Triptorelin. And anyone know where the nearest taco truck is?